At twilight, Hilary Alcorn backed from her parking space at the National Counterterrorism Center where she worked and headed for the exit. The levered arm in front of the gatehouse lifted at her approach. Slowing as she passed the gate, she blew a kiss at Harold, who waved her through. Easing onto the curved road that took her to the stoplight, Hilary braked to await a green arrow. A pair of rectangular headlights drew up behind her, inspiring a sense of déjà vu as she eyed them through her rearview mirror. Hadn't a car with identical headlights pulled up super close to her bumper last night, too? Narrowing blue-green eyes behind her teal-framed lenses, Hilary scrutinized what appeared to be a man driving the dark sedan. Maybe he was following her. Sure he is. Scoffing at her imagination, she punched the accelerator as a green arrow pierced the darkness. Plenty of cars were leaving the Liberty Crossing Intelligence Campus at that time of night. Like her, the driver behind had probably worked late to avoid the rush-hour traffic. That was her excuse, anyway, for hanging around the office until 7 most evenings. The truth was, she didn't want to be alone in her apartment with just her cat for companionship. And ever since a certain Navy SEAL had walked out of her life, she'd had no desire to go out looking for company elsewhere. That left the office, where at least she had company. Heaving a tortured sigh, Hilary zipped up the ramp to merge onto the beltway. Her volcanic orange Mini Cooper with its turbocharged engine outstripped the sedan behind her. Too bad, she thought. Life would be more interesting if she were being followed. Maybe if something awful happened to her, Stuart Rudolph would take an interest in her again. In her loneliness, she entertained that thought for a moment. He'd come into her life when she was still working for her friend and private investigator Juliet Rhodes. Finding a spy from the Cold War era based on his composite alone had stymied both Hilary and Juliet, so they'd called on a friend of Juliet's Navy SEAL boyfriend, a man so good at finding information online, his SEAL buddies called him Hack. Before Hilary had met Stuart, she had known plenty of men. After meeting him, she could care less about other men. She wasn't sure what he had done to her, but she wasn't the same flamboyant woman that she used to be. She no longer craved male attention. The only thing she craved was Stuart, who'd walked away over a stupid misunderstanding. A familiar wave of longing rolled through her. When would this never-ending craving for him cease? If he'd felt half as much for her as she felt for him, he wouldn't have allowed a small misunderstanding to tear them apart. They'd still be together, probably going to the latest Star Wars movie playing at the theater this weekend. Oh, God. Had that whimper of regret come from her own lips? I have to move on, Hilary stated, as she slowed at a stoplight just a block from her apartment. A glance in her rearview mirror made her eyes widen. That same American-made sedan was pulling up behind her again. Her stomach lurched with sudden dread. She was being followed. Or was her new job at the National Counterterrorism Center making her paranoid? The light blipped green, and Hilary floored the accelerator, tearing up the last 2 streets to her apartment complex where she nosed her Mini into her designated parking space. Just as she killed her engine, the rectangular headlights swung into view, causing her pulse to spike. She reached for her cell phone as it rolled into a space 3 cars over. Peering through the windows of the cars in between, she glimpsed a pair of broad shoulders and a head of dark hair as the driver exited his vehicle.